Back in the year 8 AD, there was a poet by the name of Ovid who wrote a work called Metamorphoses. And in that work, he included a character by the name of Narcissist. And the thing about Narcissist was he fell in love with himself. He was looking at his reflection in, I guess, a pond or creek or whatever. I guess they didn't have mirrors back then. And he just, he thought he was so handsome. And apparently the guy was. He just fell in love with himself. And eventually he became so self-absorbed with himself that he actually drowned himself. And that is a good characterization of what we know today as a narcissist. And it is from Narcissus that we get the name, as you know, narcissist. All right, so what happens to the narcissist as he or she becomes older? Here I am, nearly 70 years old, learned a few things over these past decades. I'm sharing with you some of the things that I've learned, and you know as you get older, it doesn't matter how old you are, you know just by virtue of the fact that neuroplasticity has been at work in your mind and your brain that, you're learning things. Now, the narcissist learns as well, but he learns the wrong things. For example, he doesn't learn how not to be a narcissist, but rather he learns how to be better at being a narcissist. Well, what did narcissists do? It depends on which type of narcissist we're talking about, and typically we're talking about the type that I think personally are the most dangerous, or at least those that I've had to deal with in the past, and that is malignant narcissist or covert narcissists, those who try to fake it, try to pretend that they are normal because, well, they're fakes, because they like to deceive people. They like to take advantage of people. So the first thing we learn about aging narcissists is that fact that they learn. They do learn a thing or two, and the thing or two they learn is how better to scam people, how better to fool people. There seems to be an element of psychopathy in narcissists, and as they get older, they get better at hiding that. They have no empathy. They have no affection, real affection or effective empathy for other people. Now, let's keep this in mind that Narcissus, the character in Ovid's work, he looked at himself, he looked at his reflection, and he really liked what he saw. But what he was seeing was the surface. Now, a narcissist today will look into a mirror. I don't know, maybe they look into a pond or a creek or whatever, but they see their reflection. And I don't think they really like what they see like narcissists did. Now, they may like the outward appearance just like narcissists, but deep down inside, most narcissists today, it seems that there is something missing. And that something is a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-respect, and in place of that is just mountains of low self-esteem and self-deprecation. They don't like themselves. So they look in the mirror and they say, I am so handsome, and they say, I am so handsome or beautiful, not because they're handsome or beautiful, but because they're not. They're trying to cover it up. And the same thing applies when they present themselves initially to others. They present themselves as good friends, as, I'm going to be the most loyal, faithful, trusted friend that you ever had. And they're very good at putting on that act. You know that because you've experienced them and you've been burned by them. And you know how easy it is to be fooled by them, not only you, but others like myself. And I think that I am reasonably good at reading other people. At least I did, until I encountered narcissists and I discovered one or two of them were so good at faking it. They're just excellent actors. That they fooled me. And I don't like to think that I'm fooled. Obviously, I'm wrong. I am easily fooled because, I've been fooled too many times. So they're very good at covering up. But what happens is, as they get older, that inner child remains. That inner child that feels insecure, that feels defeated, that feels deflated, that has no sense of self-esteem. They've got, their ego is, it's deflated. So they try to compensate with pretending to be somebody they're not. Now, hang on a second. There are a lot of people out there who have deflated egos, who have very low self-esteem, and it expresses itself in different ways. Sometimes as depression, sometimes as anger. Well, there are a lot of different ways we can express that, but the narcissist seems to have this very almost unique way of expressing himself, and that is by, or herself, and that is by projecting onto other people an image that is the exact opposite of who they really are, that defeated individual. Now, what is interesting about this is a lot of times these people, deep down inside, you know, that little child we're talking about, that is a misunderstanding of who they really are. They think of themselves as being a nobody. And really, a lot of these people, they have talent, they have intelligence, they have obviously very strong social skills because they're very charismatic, but they don't understand who they really are. And I think if they were to come to terms with the fact that they don't need to put on a show, they don't need to put on an act, that if they could just be themselves, that they would be accepted. But they don't accept themselves. So they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is do what they do. And here's the thing, as we said earlier, they're going to do this their entire lives. I have never known or encountered a narcissist, a covert narcissist, who was not a narcissist when he got older. I mean, when he got into his 50s, 60s, 70s, not only was he still a narcissist, but he was just simply more gifted, more talented at fooling people, and he gets a kick out of that. I mean, it's an ego boost. That's called supply, by the way. Out of fooling, tricking, ripping off, scamming other people. Now, a good analogy of this is somebody who goes to Las Vegas for the first time, walks into a casino, and everyone who is addicted to gambling has their first encounter with gambling. I mean, there was a time when they were not gamblers, right? I mean, obviously, when they were first born, when they were newborns, they were not gamblers. So they had to be a first time to walk into a casino. Let's try it out. And the dopamine kicked in or whatever. So they really enjoyed it. You know, it was something they said, man, I like that. Think I'll go back and do it again. Same thing with a narcissist. First time they fool someone, first time they scam someone, first time they get that sense of being somebody by scamming someone else without trying to work on the real problems. It's addicting. I mean, they get to the point where they just can't get enough of it. Literally, they can't get enough of it. And as they get older, to repeat myself one more time, as they get older, they get better at it. So what do you expect when you deal with an aging narcissist? I mean, somebody who's my age. What you expect is somebody, or should expect, is somebody who's really good at pulling the wool over people's eyes. Now, the problem that some narcissists face when they get older is they begin to lose some of their physical capabilities. That is to say, physically, they may not be able to move around like they used to. You know, they may have problems with walking. They may have problems with their being able to reach things. They have all kinds of difficulties physically, and sometimes that translates even into neurological problems. They need help. Narcissists don't like to be dependent on other people. I mean, even to the point of losing their jobs and living on the street. Many narcissists would rather do that than admit that they need help, and certainly not to seek help. Well, as you get older, you have no choice. So you may have this older woman in your life who all her years has been a covert narcissist, just a mean person, but she tried to hide it, right? And she came across eventually as a mean, nasty person when the mask slipped and you knew who she really was. Well, now she's in her older years, and suddenly she seems to have a transformation. What has happened is he or she has now become a very sweet, passive, lovable individual. Now, what they're doing is they are hoovering. What they're doing is they are putting back on a mask, just a different one. Now they're putting on the sweet little old lady mask. Now they're putting on the sweet little old man mask. And they're just good at it. And they fool people. And so people take them in and they take care of them. And they continue playing the act. And the people who are taking care of them, they're caretakers, they think are fools. They think are saps. They think they're duping these people. And in fact, they are. I got to be careful because there are sweet little old ladies out there. There are sweet little old men out there. And they're very grateful for what other people are doing. And you can't always tell the difference. But if the person was a narcissist throughout their entire life, By the time they get into their 70s and 80s and suddenly have this, or seems suddenly, they have this change of heart, and now they're going to put on the sweet face, chances are, yeah, that's a mask. Because when people are affectionate, when people have empathy, they tend to have it for their entire lives. It's not like, okay, I'm a psychopath today, and now that I'm older, okay, I think I'm going to quit being a psychopath. No, that's not the way it works. What they do is they're going to pretend they're no longer a psychopath. That's what you can expect from a narcissist as they get older. And you got to keep in mind that they have a very empty past. Let's say somebody's 70, 80, maybe even older. Well, maybe even younger, maybe in their 60s. What do they have to fall back on in their past? Well, they have an entire life of scamming people. That's it. They have an entire life of fooling people, of stealing from people, of frauding people, defrauding people. They have an entire past, their history, not of developing a good family. In rare exceptions, I suppose that could be true, but they don't have a solid family life by and large. They don't have a stable income. They don't have a place where they can say, this is the home that I spent my entire life. Chances are some of them do, but chances are many of them have just moved from house to house, usually living off the income of other people, living off the resources of other people. That's what they look back on. That's all they have. So now here they are older. They've got no support whatsoever that they have built up over the years. A lot of them don't even have retirement. I mean, if they didn't have a job, they don't even have Social Security. They got nothing. So they've got to rely on scamming people. And that's their memory, scamming people. And that's all they've done, scamming people. And when they die and gone and buried, people still think sometimes this is the sweetest little old lady, sweetest little old man. And I've known people like that. You know, they played the act right up until the day they died. And people still say, oh, what a great person. What a wonderful person. I've actually had people tell me that. And I knew better because I experienced the person behind the mask. And sometimes they are never, ever discovered. Well, that is what you can expect from an individual, from a person who is a covert narcissist as they get older in age. See those two rectangles on the screen? Let's keep talking if you want. Just click on one of those two rectangles and our conversation will continue. If not, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you all next time.